Hey everybody, know it's been a while since I went live, but there's something we need to talk about, and my title kind of gives you a clue. There's a real problem in the United States, and it's actually a worldwide problem. It's a war, but it's not the war between nations, although there's plenty of those taking place. We've seen it come around, we're seeing it happen, and I want to talk about it. This month, the past month, the 40 days actually, that finally ended this past Monday, has caused a lot of problems. In the United States, and I've got a few notes right next to me on my computer that I'm going to be referring to. Just keep this as short as I possibly can make it, but I can't promise it's going to be a short one. So here's the deal. There is a war going on, and some wars are definitely using guns, but that's not the kind of war I'm referring to. The problem is a war with poverty. People who have been forced out of their jobs because there was no paychecks going on. I mean, honestly, some of these people are getting back pay. But with that being said, there's a solution to what's been happening that many people choose not to make an option, and I frankly don't understand why. Most of you who are watching this video, or many are probably watching a replay, are hard workers. But I've got friends who are disabled, who have been told that there's only certain jobs they can do, and frankly, they don't pay much. They're even restricted as to how much money they're allowed to make. I mean, seriously, why do we limit the number of hours somebody can work? Maybe they have a disability that has been a lifelong disability, something like autism, or some other health issue. We live in a world where we have the internet. I'm using it right now. If you're watching this live broadcast, you're using the internet. This broadcast, knowing the fact that Facebook is periodically taking down videos and saying, oh, guess what? Your video, because it's been here for so long, we're just going to remove it. Thankfully, I was smart enough to take and process my most important videos on Rumble or YouTube. So if there's a video you're looking for, maybe I did in the past, and you can't find it, thanks, but no thanks when it comes to Facebook. They're also cross-posted many times on Rumble. Sorry about that. My tripod decided to go and get a balance of its own, I guess. Okay, it's live. Oh, what the heck is up with this thing? It's got a mind of its own today. So, maybe now I've got it? I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm sorry about that, folks. Maybe now this will hold. I hope. Anyway, what I was saying is that just because somebody has a disability, that doesn't mean they can't work. They prove it all the time. They can work. But this idea that they are restricted with how many hours a week they're allowed to work and what type of jobs that they can do, I'm sorry, but that's just bullshit. I'm a Christian, and I don't like using this language. But the reality is, even if you have a disability, doesn't mean you can't work. It means that you may have to work out a little bit harder than I do, or that somebody else may have to. But you know what? The thing about disabilities in the world we live in, even if you're a recluse and you don't want to work outside the home, that does not mean you can't work. And you can't make more money than the government says you're allowed to make. Recently, I took a class that had me do a deep dive into this topic. And I found a solution. And it's actually something that's being done in several countries around the world. They're taking the people who have disabilities and they're finding creative ways for them to not have to rely on disability. You heard me right. Having a disability does not mean you can't earn more than $500 a month or whatever it is. And I don't know what the numbers are. I think it varies by state. But to be blunt, what happens if the government runs out of money? What happens if Social Security ends up going bankrupt? Which I've heard for decades it happens. It's coming. What happens? Are you going to go homeless because you can't afford to support yourself? Or are you going to do something now to become proactive? Maybe I'm on my high horse, but maybe it's overdue for it to happen. I am fed up with people believing that just because they have a health issue, then maybe a lifelong health issue, that they have to rely on a government program to support them, to buy them food and give them a place to live. There's absolutely no excuse for this. If you can work 20 hours a week, you can work 40 hours a week. And if you can earn $9 or $10 an hour, then you can earn $20 to $50 an hour or more. I am tired of these government bureaucracies dictating how people can run their lives. I've dealt with this thing for decades. Growing up, I was told that I could not do half of what I'm doing right now. I was told things that were just flat out lies, and I decided to prove them wrong. Many of the people in my personal circle know that just over 3 months ago, my husband moved home to Jesus. He moved home. I am by myself for the first time in my life. It's taken me a few months to figure out where do I move on from here. There are people in my life who wanted me to divorce Doug in the worst possible way. I'm going to tell you something. I'm grateful that I chose to stick it out. I'm grateful that I was right next to him when he took his final breath, along with our kids. Did Doug and I have problems? Of course we did, but what marriage doesn't? I want to talk about this because it's a situation that needs to be addressed. What are you going to do if someday you're by yourself and you don't want to turn to the U.S. government to say, I need you to bail me out? What would happen if you didn't have that option? But the thing is, it's not just people who are with autism and people who are disabled that are facing a situation like this. Past 40 days, it's now been, I guess, 43 or 44 days. Government shutdown ended. Hey, Susie, thank you for jumping on. There's a second category of people that were hit directly by the government shutdown. And it sounds like they are going to be getting their back pay soon. But for 40 days, probably going to be going on 50 to 60 days before they get their next paycheck. By the time it's all resolved, I'm guessing. I don't know for sure on this. I've been paying attention, though, and I do know it's coming. And that's government, our military, and also our air traffic controllers. They were told, you have to work, but no, you're not going to get paid for a while. It's pathetic. And what I'm about to say next is going to piss off some of my friends. I'm okay with that. The government was shut down by Democrats. In order for the government shutdown to have come to an end, 10 senators on the Democrats, there's only 51 Republicans in the Senate. Yes, it's a majority. However, to get for that particular law to be passed, it took a total of 60 people to get. It took a total of 60 senators in order to get it passed. That meant that 9 senators had to cross the line. And they had to shut down. They had to choose to shut down the government. So is the government. The Democrats in the government are the ones who caused this shutdown, not the Republicans. And I'm sorry if I'm pissing somebody off by saying this. I don't care. I'm tired of people blaming Republicans for something that they didn't cause. There have been multiple videos showing very directly that they could have shut down. They could have done it sooner, but they chose to deprive the American people of what they needed. That's the most selfish thing a person can do. I have been accused by people recently of being selfish because I took a year after Doug moved home to Jesus to take a year to heal and to take care of myself. That meant doing something that upset some people in my family. I feel bad, but I'm not sorry. I have a feeling that probably at least one of those people are going to see this video and it's going to be told to those other family members who are upset with me right now, who won't even talk to me, that I'm admitting that I'm being selfish. But here's the thing about being selfish. When you're taking off in an airplane, before the plane takes off, the stewardess goes to the front of the plane and says, okay, folks, in the event of an emergency, you need to, and air mask comes down from above you, you have to put the air mask on yourself before you can take care of before you can put it on somebody else. That applies to real life. You have to take care of yourself before you can take care of anybody else. So for the past 3 months, I've been taking care of myself. Now, where am I heading on this? It's actually pretty simple. I'm grateful that I've had the time to heal. I'm not healed yet. I'm not sure I'll ever completely heal from this. I loved Doug more than even I realized. He was the best thing in my life. Without him, I would not have my kids. One of which is about 2 feet from me. Mary's putting up our Christmas tree. So, there are people who truly believe that the government can and should take care of everybody. People should not have to work. There are people who believe that. These, frankly, idiots in New York City who voted for Mamdani, frankly, they're idiots. And it's actually coming out now that he can't do what he's promised to do. He can't offer free buses. He can't offer free housing. He can't offer free daycare because here's the thing. Nothing's free. And the people in New York City are starting to realize it. Even the governor there, and I can't pronounce her last name. I think it's Hochul or Hochul or something like that. I don't know. I'm probably off. I know I'm close, but I'm probably off. She went and had the audacity to admit after his election that she wasn't going to be able to support what he wanted because she said, oh, I'm not going to raise the taxes. I'm going to stick to my guns on this. Well, she should have said that before the election if she wasn't going to do it. I'm sorry, this is just how I feel. And I'm fed up, and I'm tired of being silent about how I feel about some of these topics. Is this going to turn some people off? Yeah, probably. But here's the thing. This is the point of my broadcast. There is a solution to this. Did you know that back before 1910, over 90% of our workforce was self-employed? Bet you didn't know that. They did not work for somebody else. They worked for themselves. And that was the case up until about 1910. Yes, there were about 10% of people who worked for somebody else, and most of those people actually worked for the government. They did. It's just a fact. So, what does that have to do with, it's 2025. What does that have to do with this? Simple. Having a home-based business. Start your own business. That's the direction I decided to go. I'm not returning to retail, even though I've got a number of people saying, Melissa, you need to get a job, and you need to do it now, and you need to get a job wherever you can find a job. You know what? I agree with that to a point, but I'll be damned if I'm going back to Walmart. Or I'll be damned if I'm, excuse me, not Walmart. I wouldn't get a job there. That was Mary's last job. Michael's, that wonderful company. I'm living in the South. I can get over saying this. Bless their hearts. They're actually based in the same city I'm based in right now. The Dallas-Fort Worth area. Here's the thing. Doug passed away. Doug moved home to Jesus on July 24th. And during that time frame, I was recovering from a concussion that I had gotten at work by doing some stuff that I knew was going to cause an injury. But I was told to do it anyway, and I did what I was told to keep my stupid job. Oh, man, the rest of that story, frankly, I'm going to have a hard time fighting back my anger because I am angry about what happened in the aftermath of this. I was able to spend from July 4th to July 24th, those 20 days, I was able to spend every single day with Doug. I was sent home at night to sleep. Most of the time, Kip slept at the hospital. Or many times, Kip slept at the hospital, and we'd go home during the day to sleep, but one of us were with him at all times. During that time frame, Doug had a stroke. He was on blood thinners at that point, along with about 10 or 15 other drugs, I think, at this point. I've actually lost count. He was being kept alive by machines. Prior to that, he had been in and out of the intensive care unit from February 1st up to that point. Sorry, folks. This is really emotional because it hurts. But there is a point to it. And it's getting to where I'm heading. But the outcome of this whole year is going to end up being. And it's going to lead me asking you guys for help. Yeah, I'm getting some tissues. Mascara's going to probably run. That's okay. It's okay to cry. Even Jesus wept. The night that Doug had that stroke, it was a brain bleed on the side of his on the right side of his head, which affected the left side of his body. That Jesus help. That day actually, earlier in that day, Doug and I had a really long, wonderful conversation. We talked about our dreams, we talked about our goals, and what we wanted to see happen after he got better. That night is when the brain bleed happened. Mary just gave me a drink of water. I gotta finish this. Doug, the next morning when I got to the hospital, he was paralyzed on the left side of his body. The doctor said that they could do a surgery. They would give him a 50-50 chance of surviving and having a meaningful recovery. I told him to go ahead and do it. I signed the papers myself to say, yeah, let's give him this chance. Following months, they did the surgery a couple days later. I think it was on Wednesday. I was with him, so we're friends. We prayed for him. We prayed for the doctor's hands to guide him. And that we had hoped that would work. Middle of the following week, Mary had gone on vacation to Florida to visit my sister-in-law Carol. And for some reason that I was having problems with my previous phone at that point, and the phone wasn't always ringing. I ultimately ended up replacing it with this current one, or maybe one or two after that. But that was that Wednesday night while Doug was in the ICU at this hospital in downtown Des Moines, Iowa. Doug had a massive heart attack. We knew at that point that the odds of him having any kind of survival was dangerously slim, less than 1% at that point is what I was told. That Mary came back from her vacation the following Sunday or Monday, I think. I can't remember if it was Sunday or Monday. It was the following Saturday. Mary's in the background just listening in. And Doug had that the Monday after Mary got home, the doctors and the palliative care team with the kids and we all had a conversation about was it time to just let him go home to Jesus. At that point, Doug could not talk. He could hear, but he had a tube down his throat and there was no way for him to talk. So Kim and I both privately asked him to squeeze our hand 1 time for yes, 2 times for no. They didn't want to go home to Jesus at that point, knowing the fact that he was in pain because he had the broken ribs from the CPR. He had been kept alive on machines for months, and he knew it. We all knew it. We didn't want to admit it, but he knew it. Doug said yes to both of us privately by squeezing our hand and letting us know that he was ready to go home. So we let all the family and friends know, and on July 24th, Doug was surrounded by many, many friends. His ICU was packed. Several pastors, of course, the kids and I, and friends, many from Doug's Bible study that he was a part of. They gave him morphine so that he would not be in pain. But then after the morphine took effect, they removed the tubes and everything. And there was a time frame where I was alone with Doug in the room, and I got Doug's best friend, Marilyn Davis, on the phone, and she was able to talk to him on my phone for about a half hour before everybody started arriving. Listen, get on that conversation. I didn't say a word, but I was sitting there listening. And she reminded Doug of all the happy times, of all the memories that they had. And she also told him, I'm looking forward to seeing you again in heaven. This is not like a direction I expected to go tonight. Or today. I'm not even sure whatever time it is. It's about 3 o'clock, so it's not the direction I expected to go. But I'm gonna finish this. So at 10:15 on Thursday, August 24th, or July 24th, God took his final breath and crossed over into glory with Jesus, where he's been watching over myself, Mary, all the kids. He's been there for us every step of the way. He may not be here in person, but I feel his presence every single day. And I talk to Jesus and I say, hey, Jesus, will you tell Doug this for me? And I'll tell Jesus what I wish I could tell Doug in person. But here's what happened in the aftermath of Doug moving home to Jesus. Doug, my job, they decided I could go back to work about a week later from that concussion I got. My boss decided, apparently, I was not looking at my work schedule at that point. I was focusing on the fact that I was about to have a celebration of life for Doug. What I didn't know was my boss decided to schedule me to work that day. People were like, oh, maybe she didn't know about it. I've been assured by a number of people she knew. But she decided to do it anyway. And apparently it's my problem that I lost my job because I chose to go to Doug's funeral. His homecoming, celebration of life, however you want to phrase it. When I found out that was that had happened, and that actually Michael's Arts and Crafts, bless their hearts, they only give 3 days of bereavement time to their employees. That's cruel. 3 days? Seriously, that damn company expects you to be able to move on after just 3 days. I hadn't even had a chance to have Doug's celebration of life when they decided to do this. His celebration of life was on August 9th. I didn't even know I was scheduled to work until the 11th or 12th. And that's when I found out, because I was a no-call, no-show. I didn't have a job. So I spent some time in prayer, and really serious prayer. I'm like, God, what am I supposed to do from here? Mary, Kip, Ashley, and Chris and I had a bunch of conversations during that whole time frame. And I mean a bunch. We ultimately decided that I was going to be moving to Texas. We talked about my moving to South Carolina for me to be near my parents. But I knew in my heart that would have been a bad decision. So I'm not going into details on that because I don't want to embarrass anybody. But just suffice it to say that I made the right decision, Mary and I made the right decision coming to Texas. Even though there's people that are unhappy with my decision. I've also made the decision not to go back to retail. So what am I going to do? I'm still healing. I'm thinking about the fact that Christmas is just over a month away. It's what? Just over a month away. It's all good. It's November 13th. About a month plus a week until Christmas. Me and I are about to put our Christmas tree up that we got. And we're gonna be decorate the halls for Christmas. Here, it's just the two of us right now. I'm counting on being together with my kids this year for Christmas. I don't think it's gonna work out for me to spend the holidays with my family. Although my kids are my family. And this is actually where you guys come in. I've made the commitment to find a way to make it with a home-based business. I'd like your help. I want you to think about your family. Who do you know that needs help? Who do you know that's ready for their life to change and that's ready to do whatever it takes for that to become a reality? Who do you know? Maybe you yourself are ready to make changes that seem impossible to make. Look, I'm partners with some incredible friends to make 2026 a year that I give back. You're going to be seeing my profile page on Facebook and other platforms change. That 2026 is the year that I'm going to be making a difference in a lot of people's lives. Years ago, Reggie taught me an idea called Lawlicious Lifestyle, and also Purpose-Driven Prosperity. This is kind of a twist on that old book. I don't agree with everything in that book, but there's one thing I agree with. The more money I have, the more money I can bless other people with. I don't care if I ever get rich. It's not where my heart's at. It's just not. My heart is in helping as many people as I can possibly help in the coming days, months, and years of my life. Doug always wanted to make a difference in people's lives. That's where his heart was. And he made a difference in my life, as well as Mary Kay, Ashley, and Chris. His heart is why I fell in love with him. And his heart never changed. I made some mistakes during the course of our marriage that I definitely regret. But with that being said, I am grateful that Doug and I had 30 years together, and we've got an entire eternity to hang out together and talk. And I look forward to that future. Am I ready to join him? No. I'm not suicidal. That's just not who I am. Am I sad right now? Oh, yeah. But my point in this whole broadcast is this. Maybe you're still dealing with the government shutdown and the fact that people still have not gotten their paper checks. Maybe you're dealing with a disability. Maybe you're struggling in some other area. Look, life can be hard. There's no denying it. But here's the nice thing about life. When you make the decision to improve your life with the goal of blessing others, not only does their life change, yours does too. And that's the direction I'm going. I don't care if I get rich. I really don't care if I get rich. For me, money's a tool. The more money I have, the more I can do to bless others. Reggie Cochran is launching a program I definitely support. And I want to bless it. My friends, my friend John, Pastor John Jester, and his family are starting up a ministry to help families. I want to support that one too. Of course, I still want to bless Kickstart Kids. That's a program that's been around for decades that I wholeheartedly support. The more money I have, the more I can give away. There's some other projects I want to be a part of that I want to bless as well. But the thing is, having a job that pays $10 to $15 an hour isn't going to reach those goals. It just won't. It might pay a few small bills off. I told you I'd taken a class which is where some of these ideas came from. I'm not done taking classes. I'm always going to be a learner. That's just who I am. I'm a lifelong learner, and I love it. Years ago, some of you know that I got a bachelor's degree in nutrition. That was simply an extension of my knowledge, a way for me to extend my knowledge. Nothing more. The other classes I take, same purpose. They have to serve a purpose for me to take them. It's not about the piece of paper anymore. I want to help people. Are you disabled? Have you been affected by the government shutdown? In any capacity, maybe you're a wife of a military spouse and you just want to do something to help your family out right now, especially when you're going through this incredibly hard time. Am I blaming the Democrats? Yeah, I am. They screwed up. Doesn't mean you should have to suffer because of their stupidity and their selfishness. It doesn't. And frankly, it doesn't have to. So, here's my invitation. And after this, I'm going to close out this broadcast. I want you to reach out to me and let's have a conversation. Costs you nothing to talk. Talk to me and let's figure out a way for all of us to have a better 2026. We're only 7 weeks away, roughly? I think it's like 7 weeks away from a new year. Let's make it the best year ever and bless as many people as we possibly can and lead as many of those people to Jesus Christ, who is the ultimate healer and the ultimate, he's the ultimate everything. He is my best friend. He is the reason that I have been able to get through the past few months of seeing Doug move home. I have not done this on my own. I'm not going to pretend I have. But here's the thing. None of us have to do this on our own. All we have to do is trust Jesus. And he's right there with us. He's right there in the middle of it. Maybe you're going through a tough time. Many people are. There's a way out. And it's not about the cost. It's about having a conversation and then finding a way to make it happen. Let's have a conversation. And let's talk today. I hope this blessed you. If it did, do me a favor and leave a comment leave a comment down in the comments. Let me know. How can I help you? And by the way, this will be cross-posted to Rumble and also YouTube. Because I know that in about a month and a half, maybe 2 months or something like that, Facebook is going to take this off. That's okay. It'll be elsewhere. That's why I downloaded it and cross-posted it to Rumble and YouTube. Okay? Have a blessed day, and let me know how I can help. Appreciate you putting up with my crying. I love you all. Bye for now.